Allegory of the cave that Plato described, you are seeing the same scenario play out, repetitive thoughts, repetitive emotions, repetitive interact. You cannot change an insane thought system from within it. You're asleep, you need to wake up and tries to force you. Just can't be that's all there is. There's gotta be a better way. Go outside the cave and look at the cave. You want, but truly want, not your ego wants. Hello everyone and welcome back to another whole wellness method video. I am Lida Sportel at lidashealing.com and founder of the whole wellness method. And today I want to have a conversation with you about the allegory of the cave that Plato described thousands of years ago. And I want to take that into how we can apply this amazing and very deep concept of appearances versus reality, and how we can apply that into our modern world and our personal lives. And if you're not familiar with the allegory of the cave, it is Plato was a great philosopher, and he was using what Socrates, his teacher, was the story that he had shared with him about the allegory of the cave. And the story goes like this. There are these prisoners that are chained, their legs and their arms are chained inside a cave. And they are facing a wall, one of the walls in the cave, and they are staring at that wall. And that's all they're doing all day long, all their lives. And in that wall, they are watching these shadows that are being projected from behind them. There's the fire behind them. And by that fire, there are people walking by. And their shadows are being projected onto that wall. Now, the prisoners are not aware of the fire that's behind them, are not aware of the people walking behind them outside the cave. They're not aware of that reality at all. Their reality, and they're very convinced, 110% convinced, their reality is what's happening on that wall. So they see those shadows and they interact with those shadows and they name those shadows and they play games with those shadows and they make little guesses with each other of who is going to come by next. That is their world. That is their reality. And one of those prisoners, which is Socrates, in that story, leaves the cave, unchains himself, leaves the cave, and realizes that there's a whole world out there, and the sun is really the source, really is the it's not the darkness of the cave that is giving life. It's the sun that's out there, and there's a whole beautiful world out there that is what he realizes is the reality. And so he wakes up from the dream that he was in. And then he goes back to tell the other prisoners, hey, you don't need to be chained here anymore. There's a beautiful world waiting for you out there, and it's bright and the sun is out. I'm adding words here, but the prisoners are very, not just skeptical, but they are ridiculing Socrates and saying that he's crazy. And they eventually want to kill him, and the story ends kind of like this way. So now I want to take this, and obviously I embellished it with a couple of my words here, but I want to embellish it even more. And I want to invite you to have a conversation on this topic regarding current events, but also your personal decisions in life. And you might be getting the symbolism of the story already. You might have already encountered that in your life. I know I was born in Greece, so this was a story that in Greek philosophy that we really used a lot, and in my family, it had a lot of meaning, and we used that to understand our world a lot more. But now, to me, it has a whole new, deeper meaning given the changes that are happening around us. I think it is amazing how something that was talked about thousands of years ago, the allegory of the cave, how much it can help us right now to understand what's going on and to help us awaken from the dream. So the way I was pondering on this is that there are three different levels that we can have this discussion and how we can apply the allegory of the cave to our modern world. So the first level is in your personal life, in things about yourself that you can see that you are chained, that areas that you're stuck, areas that you feel imprisoned, areas that you feel that you just can't change, and that you are stuck in a situation or situations or relationships or with your body or with your goals or with your family or with whatever it is, and that you are seeing the same scenario play out day in and day out, watching that wall, that screen, where certain patterns are being projected on that screen, and that's what you are reviewing over and over again. So expand your mind in this conversation and see areas in your life that you find are being repetitive thoughts, repetitive emotions, repetitive interactions, repetitive frustrations, repetitive stressful things that are going on, whatever it is that for you. And then look at it in terms of how could it be that I am just looking at one wall and I'm looking at projections and I'm not aware of the fire and the people that are causing these projections, meaning how is it that I'm not aware of where the projector is projecting from? So how is it that I'm not aware of the cause of what I see? And I think the cause is that the wall, instead of seeing that the cause is somewhere else. The cause is somewhere else, and the effect is what I see. Instead, how is it that you believe that the cause is what you see and the effect is how you feel? So I want you to just start thinking about that, and where could the cause be? Where could you look instead to find where all this projector, where is the reality of all that you're experiencing? And I know I'm being kind of vague. I'm not specifically going into specific examples, but if you want to continue this conversation, I do invite you to watch my other videos where I'm going to be introducing a lot of these concepts and the psychology world and the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and a lot of videos I've done on this work where we're really going and looking at the cause, and of course in Miracles, where we're going to look at what is the cause and what's the effect. So that was the first level of this discussion, and I want to keep this short, so I don't want to go off on any of these topics. I just want to stir up some thoughts here. So level one was, how can the allegory of the cave be applied to your life in areas that you feel you're imprisoned, whether it's by your own body, by your own emotions, by your relationships, by other circumstances in your life, by financial difficulties, or by whatever it is that you feel that it's causing you to feel chained, and you're looking only at things from a certain perspective. Level 2 is where we take this conversation to kind of what's happening right now, where we're looking at things that we perhaps were oblivious to before. Our eyes are opening to what's been going on for years, all around the globe, and the how we've been kind of like the puppets of looking at things a certain way, thinking that they're a certain way. And now we're turning around and we're looking at this world out there, and that we've been manipulated and brainwashed to think a certain way and to feel a certain way. And that what has caused us to believe that narrative, and what has all the senses around us, everything we've been hearing, everything we've been seeing, everything we've been feeling, everything we've been told has made us look at that wall a certain way and think that's what reality is, that's what my life is about. And now things are really, there's been the cave has been shaken up a lot, and now we're like, oh, some other stuff are going on, and they're pretty shocking. So that's level 2, is really opening our eyes to our world, and what's behind the scenes of what are the interests of those other people that are making us think that things are a certain way. And without going too much off into that, because that is not where I want to go, I want to leave you just to inquire and look for plenty of evidence that's around us right now, although there are many efforts to take everything down, and somehow though the truth is sneaking out, and you're going to catch it, you're going to find it, you're going to see it, and you're going to filter it, and you're going to be that prisoner that's like, oh, I thought that was the truth, I thought that was how this world was working, and now I'm seeing a whole new reality of things. So that's the awakening that we're all going through globally. So that was level 2. And level 3 is really the ultimate awakening, if you will. It is what really matters. After all that is said and done, really what matters is our true awakening to who we truly are, and not who the ego has told us we are. Because to me, the way I use the allegory of the cave in my work is to see really what A Course in Miracles is telling us. And A Course in Miracles, if you really want to dive deeper into it with me, you'll see it's the allegory of the cave. It's waking us up from all the projections that we believed as to be true, all the appearances, everything about this world, and the way we've perceived ourselves, and who we think we are, to a whole new reality. And the Course in Miracles walks us through step by step the process to that awakening. It tells us, Course in Miracles tells us, you cannot change an insane thought system from within it. The insane thought system is the ego thought system that has convinced us that we are who we believe right now we are. And but to awaken from that, and if you are fed up with how things are, and if you're searching for another way, because if you're content with where you're at, then you're content with where you're at. And it's like those prisoners, if somebody comes and tells you you're asleep, you need to wake up, and tries to force you to wake up, you're going to defend that. You're going to resist that. You're going to think that person is crazy that's trying to wake you up. But if you have been chained and you're suffering and you're sick and tired of staring at that wall, and you're like, you have these thoughts of, there's got to be another way. There is just, it can't be that this cave is, and this life and the way I've understood things just can't be that's all there is. There's got to be a better way. So if that's what's circulating in your mind, and it's not a forceful thing, then you're going to want to rise above this insane thought system. You're going to want to go outside the cave and look at the cave. Because it's not just about walking outside of the cave and awakening and being like, oh, okay, now I know who I am. It takes time to really, to walk outside and to then look back and say, now I see this part of my ego and that part, and now I'm starting to understand and experience the contrast, the who am I when I'm listening to the ego, and who am I when I'm listening to the true me. How much of a difference that is, and how am I impacting others very differently when I'm coming from an ego perspective or when I'm coming from a true perspective. I'm having a hugely different impact on others. So that gives you feedback to say, who do I want to be? Who do I choose to be? And that's what A Course in Miracles is telling us, is that you have that choice, that you totally have that power to choose. Are you going to listen to the ego, or are you going to listen to the true you and who you truly are? And from that, the inspiration will come as to what you need to do next, and how you're going to free yourself, how you're going to change your life, how you're going to manifest what you want, but truly want, not your ego wants, but what you truly want. So I want to invite you in that conversation to begin this journey with me, as I'm going to be releasing a lot more videos on A Course in Miracles. And one thing I was thinking is, as we're slowly moving out of the quarantine and we are leaving our homes slowly, and we're getting out, we're going to get some sunshine as the summer is coming up as well, that it's interesting, if we look at the cave, if we look at the fact that we've been forced to be inside the cave, and it was really a good time, because we really, I think for a lot of us, it gave us the opportunity to reflect on some things and reflect on those shadows that we've been looking at, and to now, as we're walking out, to have an open mind to see all these different levels. So the level one, can I see my life differently, and the areas that I feel I'm stuck in. Level two, how can I see how this whole world works a little bit differently? And level three, how can I see who I am and everything about life in general? How can I start opening up to a new way of looking at that? And there's a quote from Schopenhauer that always touches my heart, because it's so true. It says that all truth passes through 3 stages. So all truth, when it first is introduced, it passes through 3 stages. Stage 1, it is ridiculed. So maybe it's on level 1, something you hear about areas where you need to change, and that it's the truth, but initially there's that skepticism and that you think it's ridiculous. Second stage is, it is violently opposed. So maybe you find yourself that you're defending against a certain area or a certain solution or whatever it is. You be creative with the information I'm giving you. Third stage is, it's accepted as self-evident. And maybe you've gone through that already in your life, where there's been times that you initially ridiculed an idea, then you opposed it, you defended it, and then it was, oh yeah, of course I can be this, of course I can do this, of course I can. That's self-evident, that's the new me. So that was level 1. So now what about the truth on level 2 of what we're seeing, of what's going on? Initially, it's like, it's ridiculous. It can't be that there's all these forces that are driven by very unkind places and people. They just can't be. Secondly, it's violently opposed. We're seeing right now, we're kind of in that phase right now. We're past the denial. We're in this. There's a lot of violence happening and a lot of resistance to seeing the truth that's coming out. And third, it's going to be, oh yeah, of course, it's going to be accepted as self-evident. Of course, we've been manipulated. Oh, of course, yeah, that's self-evident. So then that was a level 2, the 3 stages of the truth on level 2, and then level 3 with the Course in Miracles. It's like the ego, like the ego in the real world. What that's ridiculous. And then we're gonna have defenses against it, and then we're gonna accept it as self-evident, and we're gonna be like, yeah, of course, that is truth. So that's what I want to leave you with. I hope this conversation just, helped you think about some things a little bit differently. And then I will follow up with more videos. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this, Leaving You in Whole Wellness. Bye-bye. I really hope that you have found at least one thing from this video that has benefited you or that has inspired you in some way. And if you think of somebody else that might also benefit from this, please share it with them.